I'm in a state of near clinical depression. Do you realize that it's been more than a month since the girls of Nigeria were abducted? And I saw, as I was about to do this commentary, coming across the wires, a news flash from the New York Times indicating that the president of Nigeria, who was scheduled to visit the girls' village today for the first time in more than a month, has cancelled his visit because of fears of personal insecurity, and he's flying directly to Paris instead for a regional conference. I did not realize that France was in West Africa. It is becoming absolutely clear that the Nigerian military is unable to rescue those girls. It is also increasingly clear that the Nigerian military has itself committed outrageous atrocities against the citizens of northern Nigeria, almost equivalent in their carnage to the atrocities committed by Boko Haram. And unless the major powers of the world assist Nigeria in the intervention, we will never rescue those girls. There has to be some pinpoint military adventure, as it were, some kind of remarkable intervention to rescue the girls, or some miraculous negotiated settlement and get them out of there, or we will lose them forever. And then when they are safely back, Godspeed, they will be safely back, the United Nations, under its own aegis, must dispatch a military force equivalent of that in the Congo to get rid of Boko Haram forever. Or, as I'm sitting here, Nigeria, almost 200 million strong, the strongest economy on the continent, is in danger of being rent asunder by this extremist terrorist group. And the second reason for my catalogue of despair consists of what happened in Uganda this past week, where there was a really atrocious piece of legislation passed dealing with HIV and AIDS, to which the world has paid far too little attention. The legislation has four dreadful aspects. Number one, and most important, it requires the mandatory HIV testing of pregnant women. It's always been voluntary, necessarily with informed consent. If a partner learns that a woman is HIV positive, it's entirely possible that she will be beaten, thrown out of the home, her life compromised. Mandatory testing occurs nowhere except perhaps in Cuba. You also require mandatory testing under this law for women who've been subject to sexual assault. There's also the right to disclose to third parties someone's status, an egregious violation of human rights, particularly on the part of medical personnel. And then there is, fourth, a clause which says that if there is attempted or intended transmission, very vaguely defined, that transmission is criminalized. In other words, you set up a whole body of criminalizing transmission independent of the Criminal Code of Uganda as it now stands, something that is considered anathema in much of the rest of the world. We have to persuade the president of Uganda not to agree to this bill. So you've had excellent statements made by the international community of women living with AIDS, a statement from PEPFAR, the presidential initiative in the United States. The Global Commission on HIV and the Law is drafting a statement. There will be many other statements. Where is their silence? From the Secretary General of the United Nations, and so far as I can see, the Executive Director of UNAIDS. How is that possible? When the anti-gay legislation came through in Uganda, there was a huge international outcry, rightly. Why is there silence now from the powers that be? It's always directed at women. This legislation has women as the target. The silence is indefensible and inexplicable. That was last week. I'm Stephen Lewis, clearly in need of therapy.